Spectrum News at 12. I am Uyaya coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ethiopia. Let's take a look at the headlines. Nigerian Security Council admits Nigerians are seeking self-help. NBA probes jailing of a Kwem State lawyer by Chief Judge. Plus, Benin Republic's Talon graces must visit by releasing 30 prisoners from the opposition. Details of the story in a moment. First news today is a security report that the National Security Council (NSC) has said Nigerians are close to seeking self-help to combat insecurity. The council describes the worsening insecurity as a very difficult situation which may not be resolved by cut and dried methods. However, it assured that the armed forces would soon restore normalcy by deploying new strategies against terrorists and other criminal elements. National Security Advisor NSA General Bagana Muguno, who reporters after the 5-hour meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, hinted, saying a whole of new approach was needed to effectively overcome asymmetric conflict in the nation. He therefore called on Nigerians to help security, intelligence, and armed agencies with useful information.
Sorry, just finished the National Security Council. Do you know what transpired?
Today's meeting was convened by the President as a continuation of the meeting that took place last week to discuss technical issues and the tasks that were given to the security agencies. The meeting deliberated on all those issues after the brief by the National Security Advisor, which is usually the media. Again, the Council has seen it necessary to inform the general public that fighting this type of asymmetric conflict, the collective effort, is not something that should be confined to only the security, intelligence, and law enforcement agencies. It is true that the local people are averse, they're scared, they're worried, there's no confidence. That is understandable. But with their support, without their cooperation in terms of giving information.
Meantime, the Nigerian Army has announced a reshuffling of its leadership by appointing new commanders, corps commanders, commanders of training institutions, brigade commanders, and commanding officers, amongst others. According to a statement by the Defense Headquarters, by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, approved the posting and appointment of some senior officers in order to tackle the spate of security breaches rocking the country. The Chief of Army Staff thereby directed all the newly appointed senior officers to double their efforts and commitment to duty in tackling the security challenges before the nation as they assumed their new appointments. This is also coming after the President Muhammadu Buhari had met with the security chief in Abuja. We move to the legislature now, where PDP lawmakers in the upper and lower legislative chambers on Thursday met behind closed doors in Abuja in what appeared to be further on moves to impeach President Muhammadu Buhari over endless attacks by terrorists. Briefing reporters at the National Assembly at closed-door session, the Senate PDP minority caucus, Philip Aduda, stressed that the meeting afforded them to explain the scenario that played out in the Red Chamber Wednesday with regards to a walkout by senators. Aduda explained that in a bicameral legislature, as it is in Nigeria, there was a need for both chambers to be on the same page for impeaching a president. Hence, the minority caucus in the chamber was called for a proper briefing. He said the opposition senators were not alone. disclosing that a good number of the ruling All Progressives Congress senators agreed with them and promised to be bipartisan on the issue.
We think it is high time that the insecurity of this nation is addressed. And of course, we also have the issue of oil theft, which has risen, which is now making it possible for earn income from revenue. And these are many others is the reason why we are our colleagues in the Senate ask Mr. President to address the insecurity of this nation within weeks, between 6 and 8 weeks. Otherwise, we will find the constitutional means to ensure that we will serve him an imminent notice.
We all agreed that the security architecture failing, and there's the need to solve it immediately. And we also agreed that we must issue, for some who don't know, the issue is to issue an impeachment notice to the president, because the primary responsibility of government is the protection of life of its citizens.
While the All Progressives Congress APC rated opposition senators at the upper chamber over moves to impeach President Muhammadu Buhari, Jigawa State APC Chairman Gumbel, who disclosed this while reacting to threats from PDP lawmakers to impeach the president, described the move as unhealthy for Nigerian democracy. Recall that opposition senators on Wednesday issued 6 weeks ultimatum to President Buhari if he does not address the insecurity situation of the country. Gumel noted that President Buhari and the APC are committed to ensure peace and unity in the country. He then advised Nigerians to continue supporting the APC government with prayers to overcome the linked security problems.
After which we will give an ultimatum to the president that he resolves this issue, otherwise we give an notice. And as such, Minority Leader, you are supposed to cite the order. Second, you are supposed to discuss with me. At this moment, point of order, I don't know what it is, but falls flat on its face. Leader of the Senate. After which we will give ultimatum to the president that he resolves.
In another development, Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has lambasted the federal government over sponsoring the training of public office holders while Nigerian students are out of school due to strikes. Recall that photos of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbadagba, emerged online a few days ago. He was undergoing a course at the John F. D. School of Government at the Harvard Business School. Gbadagbamila's course at Harvard, allegedly sponsored by the government, came to light as the controversy and rift between the Academic Union of Universities (ASU) and the federal government that has kept students at home for 5 months with no end in sight. He who took to his Twitter handle to lament the treatment being meted to the Nigerian youth, particularly students, described the trained leaders with public funds as a misplaced authority. In the meantime, the National Association of Academic Technologists has warned the Professors NIMI-led committee against any action that makes the principles of collective bargaining as it relates to salaries and allowances, the ongoing industrial action by university unions. The union said awarding any percentage increase in salary or allowances to its members unilaterally against all negotiations anchored on the principles of collective bargaining as contained in the International Labour Organization Convention 98 is immoral. Art President Ibeji Nwokoma, who is a newsman in Abuja, said the federal government has shown no intention of resolving the ongoing strike action by university unions, noting that the government has remained adamant in addressing the German issue. The president further noted that since the commencement of renegotiation, no discussion had been held on the issue of salaries and allowances. The union therefore called on the RICS committee to reconvene and conclude the negotiation process and further adopt a more robust approach to the negotiation. We move to the judiciary, where Action Alliance AA has again asked the Independent National Electoral Commission, the All Progressives Congress APC presidential candidate of the APC, Andrew Bola Tinubu, and his vice, Kashitima, before Federal High Court alleged double nomination. Recall that party in its earlier suit pending before the division of the Federal High Court is the disqualification of the APC 2023 presidential polls for alleged acts of perjury on the part of presidential candidate Tinubu. However, in a fresh suit, the plaintiff is seeking the disqualification of the ruling party on the ground that it has nominated a candidate for more than one constituency in the 2023 general elections. They are according to the AA in the fresh suit containing Section 35 of the Constitution and the Electoral Act of 2022. No date has been fixed for the hearing of this. In a separate statement, the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) has begun a probe of the circumstances in the jailing of a Lagos-based lawyer in Ethiopia by the Chief Judge of Akwa Ibom, Justice Ekaite Obot. Its President Olumide Akpata, who ordered the investigation, said efforts were underway to ensure that Effiong is released soon. Recall that Judge Obot on Wednesday sentenced Effiong to 1 month imprisonment for alleged contempt during proceedings in the case of alleged libel instituted by Akwa Ibom State Governor Manuel against Leo Ekpeyo, who is Effiong's client. However, Effiong claimed a victim of unjustified exercise of power and that the judge punished him as he applied that 2 armed mobile policemen be asked to exit the courtroom. He had also asked the chief judge to recuse herself from handling the case on the ground of alleged bias.
Yeah, okay, so we were in court this morning, and as usual, the atmosphere was very, very hostile. I came in this morning, and immediately, my lord, the chief judge, he ordered some armed policemen with AK-47 to come inside the courtroom. And then the armed policemen came in with AK-47 of them, including the orderly. And then I kept quiet, proceedings started, and then, I reminded the court that we have a motion to recuse her. Asking the chief judge to recuse himself from the matter on grounds of likelihood of bias, which we have filed. And then the court should go ahead with the trial and leave the motion. The trial started, and then while I was cross-examining the witness governor, the judge ordered the journalist from Premium Times to leave the court. And I simply said, my lord, that open court, we were expecting that anyone that observed proceedings should observe proceedings. And then the judge, now turned on me. Also read that, my lord, that I don't feel comfortable having, armed policemen in the court. That I've never seen armed policemen with AK-47. 2 armed policemen with AK-47 in the court. That it made me uncomfortable. It made me feel threatened. That they go outside. I applied officially that the court should excuse them from this. And my lord ordered me to step out of her, ordered me to the rope, and said he's committing me to prison for 1 month for, raising aggression that armed policemen, it's not for them to be inside the courtroom. My lord has asked that, the conviction warrants be brought. I'm waiting for the conviction warrants. I'm going to use them from here. I think it's also an opportunity to get to school that are there, right?
Here on environmental news, Akwa Ibom State Govt has announced that there will be monthly state sanitation tomorrow, Saturday, without restriction of vehicle and human movement. In a release signed by the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Comrade Inie Memobong, the sanitation exercise will hold till 10 a.m. tomorrow. He therefore urged the people to join hands to keep Akwa Ibom State clean. We move now to Africa, where Benin Republic has freed 30 opposition supporters arrested during the 2021 election that handed President Patrice Talon a second term. A senior source has confirmed that the decision came during a visit by French President Emmanuel Macron, who met with Talon in the country's commercial capital, Cotonou. The announcement came hours after Talon dismissed criticism that his government was holding political prisoners after the jail last year of two top opposition leaders. Among those freed were leaders and youth activists of the opposition Democratic Party. Still in Africa, Ethiopia's athletics board has urged the government to ease access to the war region of Tigray, which is home to 7 medalists from the recently concluded World Athletics Championships. Reports say 3 of Ethiopia's 4 gold medalists and 1 medalist from the championships held in the city of Eugene earlier this month hail from Tigray, including the women's marathon Goitom Gibraltar. President of the Ethiopian Athletics Federation Debaratu has said some athletes remain in Tigray and are unable to participate in the championships, which saw Ethiopia come second in the medals table behind the United States, winning a total of 10 medals. The foreign scene, the US and Chinese leaders have warned each other over Taiwan during a phone call that lasted more than 2 hours. President Joe Biden told his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping that the U.S. strongly opposed any unilateral moves to change island status, as he noted the U.S. policy on Taiwan had not changed. Beijing has said President Xi Jinping told his U.S. counterpart to abide by one China principle, warning him that whoever plays with the fire will get burnt. Tensions over the issue have increased ahead of a rumored plan for U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi to visit Taiwan. Meanwhile, the State Department says Pelosi has not announced any travel, but has warned of serious consequences if he were to proceed with such a visit. Still on the foreign scene, China has signaled that it may miss its annual economic growth target as COVID restrictions weigh the world's second-largest economy. The Communist Party's top policymaker, the Politburo, said it aims to keep growth within a reasonable range. In a statement after its quarterly economic meeting, the 25-member Politburo, which is chaired by President Xi Jinping, China is continuing to pursue a zero-COVID policy that has put major cities into full or partial lockdowns. Still to come, athletics star Amusan Drume makes early arrival at Birmingham 2022. With us. Thanks for staying tuned. On our business news, telecommunication companies yesterday kicked against the implementation of the 2022 fiscal policy measures and tariff amendments, which stated that they pay 5% as excise duty for services provided. They rejected the tax, describing it as insensitive, unfair, and capable of crippling the industry in the way and manner the oil industry has been filled by different challenges. The industry stakeholders, represented by the Association of Communications Companies in Nigeria, Association of Licensed Telecommunications Operators in Nigeria, ALTON, Nigeria Association of Telecommunications Subscribers, NATCOS, asked the government to suspend the implementation of the tax policy indefinitely. Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning and the Nigeria Customs Service NCS has said they are going ahead with policy implementation, as only President Buhari has the power to suspend the implementation based on the schedule of the act. Still in business, President Council Chartered Institute of Bankers Nigeria (CIBN) Ken Okwa has said despite current macroeconomic challenges confronting the Nigerian economy, the financial sector has remained resilient, strong and profitable. He said that 3 commercial banks in Nigeria increased their earnings by 25% in the first year of 2022, recording a total of 1.54 trillion. The bank, he added, were able to record improved bottom line despite the CBN monetary policy leaning towards a dovish direction, keeping interest rates low. Okwa at the second edition of the Media Review Economic Outlook 2022 event organized by the Chartered Institute of Bankers Nigeria Center for Financial Studies. In health, UNITED and the Medicine Patent Pool a deal has been reached to allow for distribution of a low-cost generic version of a long-term preventive treatment against HIV in low-income countries where most of the world's infections occur. UNITED spokesman Hev Vash, who made this known in an announcement, said the deal will see HIV Healthcare, a subsidiary of pharmaceutical giant GSK, allow selected manufacturers to produce generic versions of Tigray LA, its long-acting pre-exposure prophylaxis treatment for HIV. Reports the deal will provide access to the injectable version of cabotegravir, which has shown to provide 2 months of protection against infection in 90 countries, where over 70% of all new HIV infections occurred in 2020, said UNITED. The coordinator of Team Nigeria at the OIN 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, Yusuf Ali, expressed delight over the arrival of championship medalist Toby Omusan and Ese Brume in the Nigerian camp. The erstwhile captain of Team Nigeria said the 2 athletes who won gold and silver on the women 100 meters hurdles and women long respectively at the just concluded World Championships in Oregon were expected to take little time off to rest ahead of the track event of Birmingham 2022. Ali said their arrival has boosted the team spirit, adding that the world's record holder and recently crowned world champion are favorites to clinch gold in their different events as they did at the last Commonwealth Games. Still in sports, former unified heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr. backed Anthony Joshua to adjust against Alexander Usyk when the two meet in a title rematch on August 20th in Saudi Arabia. Ruiz famously had Joshua his first career defeat in 2019, creating history as he became the first Mexican to become the world heavyweight champion before Joshua later won the belt and reclaimed his titles. Ruiz, who admitted that he did not prepare as he should have for his rematch against Joshua, believes Usyk will fare better indeed, but he has tipped Joshua to adjust accordingly. On our entertainment, Papa Ajasco series star Yunde Barnabas, popularly known as Miss Pepe, and her footballer husband Peter Olinka have welcomed their first child. The first-time mom welcomed her baby Bema Olayinka in Prague Czech Republic with her beauty there to support her. The film star announced the arrival of their bundle of happiness via Instagram page, sharing photos with her husband carrying little Gemma. Caption the post, she acknowledged God's glory over their lives and appreciated Him for making them parents to the most beautiful human. Still on entertainment, La Cream Entertainment Incorporated Nigerian hip-hop star Idris Al-Karim's record label has given an update on the singer's health. Recall that Idris was diagnosed with kidney failure and has been undergoing dialysis. His management in a statement that the scheduled kidney transplant was postponed. The statement said Idris is in high spirits and making a few cameo appearances and abiding by the doctor's directives and required lifestyle changes. It therefore urged Nigerians to continue praying for the artist. That's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching Spectrum News at 12. I'm Uyaya Nyekan. Thanks for watching and doing the rest of your day.